opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Barbers Chat Network, our great partners at H&B Media, or any of our media peers. We're just five idiots who love sports and love to talk shit. If you're offended easily, then this show isn't for you. And for those of you who aren't offended easily, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Remember, it's only entertainment.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold. My agent just said we made 100 flat. Make it back and make it stack this like no Steven Jack. Put my rings up in the camera like I needed that. Up in the air and at the rim is where I meet them at.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. It is Friday, September 6, 2024. I'm your host, Scott Lewis. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Barberchair Scott. You can also follow the Barbers Chat Network at Barbers Chat Net on all social media platforms. You can follow our partners, HB Media, HB Media TV on Twitter, and at HB Media on Instagram, man. Of course, you can subscribe to our Patreon right now, patreon.com/Barbers Chair Network, man. You can see, up on the screen, we're going to have the QR code. You can go right there and you can just, go right to the Patreon. We got 4 different tiers. We got the Summer Sessions tier, was $5, all Summer Sessions content. You want the 79th and Hallis tier. If you want the 79th and Hallis podcast the day before they drop, get it up on there. And of course, we got the $5 I'm Not Gonna Hold You tier, and then the $10 all access tier, man. If you want everything, subscribe to that. And everybody who has that tier, if you are a long time subscriber and you haven't used your Patreon code yet for the shop, get that 25% off your first order. And for new subscribers as well, you also get the same thing, man. So get in tune with the Patreon, man. Of course, if you're not on the Patreon, man, you can visit our new merchandise shop, man, bcnetshop.com. Get everything. I'm Not Gonna Hold You merch, 79th and Hallis merch, all Barbers Chair content, man. Shout out to everybody who ordered. All orders have been officially sent out. So if you haven't gotten yours already, it should be coming very soon. Your emails in your email. Check everything going on with the tracking numbers. All that has been sent out, man. Of course, you can visit the bcnet.com, your one-stop shop for everything Barbers Chair Network, man. And while you at it, just like, subscribe, leave a comment, man. We've got a long show for y'all today. It's season 5 premiere. I started doing this show 3 years ago, 2021, but I didn't really start doing this like an actual plan until a year ago. And it's a 1-year anniversary of me bringing on my amazing staff, amazing crew. We're going to bring them in right now. We got 3 of the 4 here. We've got Dante, we've got Mikey, and we got Bang. Of course, you can follow Dante at OctoberZoneTate on Twitter. You can follow Mikey at Junior_Solito on Twitter, and you can follow Bang at JR Bang on all social media platforms. Courtney will be joining us next week. She's out this week, so looking forward to speaking to her on Monday. We're back to 2 times a week starting on Monday, and Mondays it will be 4 p.m. Central Time, the Super Show. Throughout the NFL regular season, since there's so much to get into with the NFL regular season, with Bears talk, and of course the MLB playoffs and the beginning of the NBA season coming. Monday will be the Super Show. We're gonna be going from 4 to 7 p.m. Central Time. We're gonna basically be your pregame show to Monday Night Football, and then on Friday it will be the regular 2-hour show, getting you ready for the upcoming weekend of sports, man. So look out for that. We've got a guest in the local hour come up with about 10 minutes. Robert Mays from the Athletic Football Show. It's gonna be good to talk to him. But how y'all fellas feeling?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, when the camera is low and you got a glass in my hand, that means
that means Dante's not producing today. Shout out to Nikhil producer. Mikey, what's going on? It's been a while since you've been back on here.
Chilling, bro. Feels good to be back, man.
Bang, how you feeling, man?
Hey, man, it's Friday. I think I should be good. I'm still setting up my new office area, aka the garage. So, I got my wired situation there, so we shouldn't have any mic issues.
Well, that is good to hear, man. So, let's get into it. First topic of the day, man. We gotta send out prayers, thoughts, rest in peace to Rich Homie Quan, man. We've lost a lot of hip hop heavyweights this last week. Of course, last week losing Fat Man Scoop, and now the news of Rich Homie Quan, man. Rich Homie Quan, if you was in, if I wasn't in college when he had his run, I actually graduated. I'm showing my age like a motherfucker right now. But like when Type of Way came out, I was actually like a year and a half removed away from college. But I was still in my 20s clubbing phase. Everywhere you went, man, you heard that man's music. The Rich Gang tape with him and Thugger, that held me and Pavy down our first like 3 months in Los Angeles. Like, nigga, that's all we played, bro. If anybody walked past our part, I'm pretty sure that's the song you heard. I heard the tape you heard, man. He's had a lot of classics, a lot of songs, man. From like 2013 to 2015, one of the biggest artists in the game. I had the pleasure of meeting this man 3 years ago. 3 years ago, actually doing my first ever Bears game. I covered my first Bears game in Vegas. It was a real last minute thing that happened. I was staying in the Delano in the Mandalay Bay, and we just happened to be in the same hotel, and we was both going up to the top floor. And he had like a couple bottles with him, whatever. And I was just like, hey, man, I ain't trying to bother you. I just got to shake your hand for that Rich Gang tape, man. They got me through some times. And he was cool. He was real appreciative about, me giving him some love on the tape, man. But he was just real cool dude, man. And, prayers out to his family, prayers out to his kids, his wife. I don't know, his girlfriend, his baby moms, everybody, man. And definitely keep all his friends in high spirits as well. Bang, I know you had your first viral moment interviewing Rich Homie Quan, man. Tell me about some memories you got with him.
Well, one of them, it actually wasn't an interview. I was in Dallas. It was my first week in Dallas, going up there, and that's when he was doing that dance that looked weird as hell. And it was him and one of those delayed dudes that was getting club nights and everything. But I went up there, filmed it and shit. But what's crazy? Today is September 6th. And actually the first time that I met Rich Homie Quan was on this day 11 years ago. Oh, wow. It's crazy. WindyCityUnderground.com. He came up there for an interview. Me and Ricky Rampage, aka Chewy for Power, did the interview. My man DG was up in there too, taking pictures, doing social and stuff. So yeah, like even meeting somebody and then damn near to the day that y'all met, this person passed away. It's weird. But when I saw all of the information, checking in with the Atlanta team to see if everything was true, no word on the cause of death at this time officially. So there's that. But when you lose somebody that's 34 years old, and then if you looked at some of his recent interviews, just not only talking about the music thing, but a lot of the stuff that he had going on outside. Philanthropy, a lot of business, real estate and stuff. He was out here getting money. So it's just tough to lose somebody that's 34. But then you had him, B King, Fat Man Scoop all die within like 2 weeks. And they say death happens in threes, and this is definitely one of those hip hop threes. So it's messed up, but prayers and condolences to his family, his girl, all of Atlanta, because I know a lot of people in Atlanta really mess with him. When you think about it, what was that? Future, him, Young Thug, all together. That really held down Atlanta for a time. And there was an interview. Yep, Migos. And it was an interview that he said, yo, I'm not big three. I mean, there's a big three, or there's the new three of Atlanta, and I'm not number three. So he really held himself in high regard. So rest in peace to Rich Homie Quan, man.
Dante, I know you out there in the A, man. How's it? What's like the vibe out there, and any memories or things you have about Rich Homie Quan?
It's really shocked. Like a lot of people are shocked because obviously his name isn't buzzing as much as it was in the industry when he first came out. but he was somebody that was well respected. You know, he like you mentioned him in Future and the Migos and Travis Porter. All those dudes were all in that era where we all were still really young. You know, fresh out of college. I graduated in 2011. I think he came out in like 2012. But you know, there's some type of wave video. He actually shot that in the AUC, so it was like right behind. It was 2 blocks away from the old crib I used to live in. So, like I said, he was always an Atlanta staple. And it was really just shock around the city. A lot of people were legitimately surprised. Like, obviously, you know, with him passing away, Thug is still locked up. You know, some heavy hitters from that time are really, you know, gone. We already know Trouble passed away. We can go down the list. Bankroll Fresh. There's been a few people in Atlanta that have passed that we lost. Takeoff. So, I mean, it was just another name added to the list, but really just a lot of people were shocked.
Mikey, man, any memories of Rich Homie Quan, man, during the time he was really taking off?
No, for sure, because during the time he was really taking off is just when I moved to Miami. So that shit was crazy down there. I actually seen him perform one time when I was at Live. You know, that I Promise I'll Never Stop Going In album, you know, that joint with Thug, that Please Get the Fuck Out My Face. Like, that was my shit, like legitimately my shit. So, you know, it's sad, you know, condolences to his family. And, you know, you never like to see this, especially, you know, you look at it, he was born in 89, but he was younger, you know, he was younger than me and you, Scott, you know, he's 34 years old. So,
yeah,
you know, it's just sad all around. But, yeah, you know, it sucks because this is, you know, the genre that we listen to the most. This is the, you know, it's the only genre where this shit happens.
Yeah, man, it's definitely.
It's where it happens so frequently.
Yeah.
Let me correct that. Where it happens so frequently.
Definitely, man. Definitely tragic. But prayers out to his entire family, man. Let's you know, try to make the smoothest transition. We're gonna time to talk football, man. Our first local hour of the Bears season. Here, bang, there we go.
It's the local hour.
There we go. The first official local hour of the 2024 football season. We will get into last night's action in the second hour. Let's just say I had a good hearty laugh at the end of that game last night. So we're going to be talking about that. We will be joined by Robert Mays in just a minute on here, man. But going into this game, week 1 feeling, much different feeling than it was a year ago. A year ago, I think I was overly hyped this time last year to the point where, like, I should have probably checked myself, but I didn't. I remember that whole, you know, feeling. So Scott's answer, I'm like, okay, here we go. I don't. This rumor's been going over so long. I don't even remember who started it. And I think this goes back pre-Barbershop Network when we were just doing 7 Nights in Dallas. But anyway, you know, it was a different feeling. Like, I was, you know, really trying to see, you know, oh man, the Bears gonna actually beat the Packers this time. Packers smacked them up, but this one is a little different. Cautiously optimistic is probably the best way I can describe coming into this season and how I feel about the Bears. But and probably, you know, being in camp for the last 6 weeks and being up there a couple days ago, getting ready for preparations and actually getting into regular season schedule, which I love because I can start waking up at regular time. And that is to see basically, you know, this team is confident and not just overly confident. I feel like last year they were trying to convince themselves that they were more confident. This one, I feel like every time when the media brings up expectations, it's more like, oh, well, you know, we're tired of hearing about that shit. We need to go out there and get it done. So that's kind of what I'm feeling. I'm excited for Sunday, ready to get it done. And I think it's going to be a good one. We're going to actually preview that later on. But Mikey, what's your feeling just coming into, you know, this week?
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I've never wanted a Friday and Saturday to go by so fast until this weekend. But I'm feeling confident. You know, last year, I think our optimism, in the words of the great Thanos, it was misplaced. But it was because we had hope that Justin Fields could do something. We obviously seen that wasn't the case, and the Bears decided to move on. But now, like, I can't never remember an off season and, you know, on the eve, 72 hours of a kickoff of an opening week 1, and I can say the Bears might have a top 10 offense. You know, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and then you have this, you know, this supposedly, and we hope, white light in Caleb Williams. So I'm super excited. I'm telling you, man, I'm gonna knock out. I'm gonna take a couple of fucking Tylenol PMs and just sleep through the weekend.
Bang, man, what's your feeling over there?
Hey, man, I'm like Mikey G. I've never not wanted Sunday to get here so fast. I don't care about tonight. I halfway didn't care about last night. I went to sleep and missed everything and woke up and saw what happened and just was like, all right, so what? It ain't Sunday. It ain't Bears Titans. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. So I'm excited, man. It's hard to put into words, my G. It's let's just get there.
Dante, what's your feeling right now?
I think the word I would use is anxious, but in a good way. In a good way. I'm just, really anxious about the season. I really want to see everything get started. The confidence that Caleb has carried himself with since we drafted him has really impressed me. So I want to see how it plays out on the field. I know a lot of people are doing the whole, he's a rookie, fuck all that. I'm expecting him to come out and, really be this generational talent that we've been talking about for years now. So I agree with Orlando. This is easily the most anticipated Bears opener of my lifetime.
Yeah.
I think it's really an opportunity for us to, turn the page as Bear fans and finally start to enjoy something like for a truly extended period of time.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. I do think the fan base has a different feel than the deal a year ago. I think last year everybody was just like, oh no, Aaron Rodgers, nigga, like we should be able to do this. Like this, I've never seen the fan base as, I guess, I won't even call it pessimistic. I just think it's just everybody just kind of like, yeah, we believe, but let's actually see it. I think as a collective, I think we're all kind of tired of the, getting overhyped about things and then being let down. And I think also maybe at least for me, I don't know about y'all, I think it's a confidence in Caleb Williams. Believe what you see. From what I've seen, I think that's something I've just seen my eyes that I'm more comfortable with. If I didn't see him through camp and things like that, I think I would be a little bit more nervous about it. But I've been seeing the dude for not even 6 weeks since fucking OTAs, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that is.
But
man.
Scott, I know I was having audio issues last week, but I'll say a little bit what I said last week again this week. This is the first time in my years of being a Bears fan that whether we win or lose, I'm good. I'm comfortable because I feel like we're on the right track. We've always had nervous energy coming into, even in the most cases when we was excited about the season, it was always nervous energy. I have no nervous energy coming in to Sunday. I'm excited about seeing the game plan. I'm excited about seeing what the defense looks like. I'm excited about seeing what the wide receiver room looks like. I'm excited to see Caleb Williams, but I am not nervous about them losing to the Titans, whether they win or lose. I'm not worried about too much of anything because I feel like this is the first time in years that I feel like we have a chance at sustained success. So because of that, even if we were to lose, as long as we don't look bad, and I'm not even worried about that, we're on the right track and I'm happy.
We're going to get into that later on in the show, man. But we've got our first guest of the season, man. Very happy to have this man on, man. We've got Robert Mays from the Athletics Football Show joining us here today, man. Robert, thanks for joining us. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, no doubt, bro. No doubt. Met you at camp a couple weeks ago. Definitely been a fan of your work for a minute. It was definitely, good to run into you. It's been it's been a busier camp. This is like was a busy camp. This was like my third camp doing it. Just straight out the game, what was your feel of being there? I know, obviously you cover all football, but you're also a Bears fan. How did you feel just being there from what you saw?
It just feels different. It just feels like there's a level of excitement. It feels like there's a level of optimism. Obviously, having the Hard Knocks cameras there gives it kind of a weird air. There's just a different vibe when you have that entire production happening while you're standing on the sideline. But, he made a play while I was there. You probably remember it. There was a throw down the left sideline to Roma Dunzan, like a double move. It was a little late in camp for a long touchdown. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, that feels different.
Yeah.
that feels different. That looks different. And I think that kind of permeates the entire vibe and the entire feeling of everything that's going on around there right now.
Definitely. I think just in general, like you said, everything has just felt different. You know what I'm saying? Like from the beginning of seeing him in just rookie camp to where it's right now, like even the I guess the improvement has kind of been crazy, man. First of all, y'all can follow Robert Mays at Robert Mays on all social media platforms. Get in tune with this podcast, the Athletics Football Show. If you want good football breakdowns, good content, that's where you need to go. Let's start off with Caleb Williams. What makes you, I guess, confident about this time it could be different from what you've seen of Caleb, not just from college, but what we've just seen this small time in camp and preseason?
The last few years, if you look at the best quarterbacks in the NFL, the guys who've really separated themselves, I think one of the traits they all possess is that there's a level of creativity to the way that they play the position. And that means outside of the pocket, but that also means inside the pocket. Like, how can you access and make plays that maybe aren't available to you within the typical structure of what's happening? And last night to me is a perfect example. Like when you watch Lamar and Mahomes last night, it's the sack avoidance in the pocket. It's the feel for how to maneuver in the pocket and get out of trouble and stay alive as a passer and make plays late in the down. I think all of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL possess some element of that. Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, Matthew Stafford is like that. Jordan Love showed an ability to do that. I think that CJ Stroud has some of that to him. And even though, and I hate mentioning Justin Fields' name as part of these discussions because this isn't about Justin Fields, but I think the difference when you're talking about guys who have a lot of physical talent is that Justin Fields, even if he was an explosive player, was very rarely a creative player. He was a little bit robotic in the pocket. He didn't have a real sense of how to navigate that space. When you look at what Caleb was in college, and then you look at even what he's done in the preseason, that creativity just oozes out of him. It feels the same way it does when you're watching the best quarterbacks in the NFL. It's a creativity for that space and a feel for how that space operates, especially when it starts to get condensed. And I think that because he has those traits, that's what makes this feel just a little bit different.
And I think also, with rookie quarterbacks, there's always the up and downs and things like that. Outside of, the good things we see about Caleb, what's something that you think will probably be the toughest for him to transition into the NFL, especially against a team like, Tennessee?
I think it's more just about taking what's there when it's there. How often are you playing on time? How comfortable are you playing on time? How quickly do you get into creation mode, maybe when you don't need to get into creation mode? And this is something that's been a problem for even some of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. I think Josh Allen is a phenomenal football player. But early in his career, there were times where Josh could get into frantic Josh mode a little bit faster than he needed to, where he'd be turning things down on schedule within the structure of plays because he's trying to make a superhuman play. And I think that just trying to tamp that version of Caleb down as much as possible, be like, listen, man, you can't go broke taking a profit. If that 5-yard completion is there, take that 5-yard completion and we'll hunt out the explosive later in the drive. He has such a strong playmaking gene in him. I think trying to harness that and hone that as much as possible is going to be a process early in his career.
Definitely. I definitely agree with that as well. And I think the thing that's real unique about this, and I said this on the show a couple weeks ago, we've never seen not just a rookie quarterback, very few rookies in sports. I think this is the best situation that any rookie has come through since Magic Johnson in the 79-80 Lakers. Like, he came in with Kareem and just how loaded that roster was. Like, this to me is the best situation. So maybe even his falls won't be as rough as any other rookie quarterback, and I think that's something that serve him well. Let's talk about like the rest of the team. I mean, we're all big Caleb quarterbacks will move, but the rest of the team, defense is coming off a good year they had last year, really finishing strong. Another year, full year with Montez Sweat, and Gervon Dexter's new year for him. Kyler Gordon's finally healthy. We know the good things they can do. What's the concern that you have for the defense coming into the season, or the offense, just the team in general?
I think it's the number one concern about the roster in general is just how are they going to get pressure with 4? Because even after trading for Montez Sweat last year, you look at some of the pressure numbers. I mean, they were down near the bottom of the league. I think they were even like 23rd or 24th in the NFL in pressure rate with 4 pass rushers after the Montez Sweat trade. And you look at the rest of that line, and DeMarcus Walker is really a 3 in an ideal situation. The tackles, you mentioned Gervon Dexter. If he can take a big step forward, it goes a long way in solving that problem. But obviously, he's still a young player, even though Austin Booker's shown flashes. He's a 4th-round rookie going into his first season. So I just think that top to bottom, that defensive front as a pass rushing unit doesn't have the sort of juice that elite defenses in the NFL typically do. And there's a chance that they can make up for it with the coverage skills that they have on the back end. There's an argument to be made that if you include the linebackers, it's the best coverage back seven in the entire NFL. But if you're going to be a team that doesn't blitz a lot, you need to make sure you're affecting the quarterback with 4. And I still have some concerns about the group they have on the roster and their ability to do that consistently.
Especially too, I think that it's very thin. Like that in the offensive line. I think I'm more nervous about the offensive line and defensive line. I think they're one injury away or for being screwed. Like we still got to see Tevin Jenkins stay healthy. I'm not a big Braxton Jones guy, but the defense, the injury report came out today. Got a little trouble right there. Flus expecting said Ted should play on Sunday, but there's question marks about new Bear, Daryl Taylor, and then you also got DeMarcus Walker. So those are the things as well that's a little shaky to me. But talk about Matt Eberflus. You know, there's a lot of pressure on Eberflus. I think Hard Knocks, and not only Hard Knocks, but Flus's makeover has done him a great job of, I think, taking people a little bit more seriously. When he first came to the team, he was more timid with the media. You know, we asked him questions. He wasn't as open with us. And I feel like this year, coming into it, he's just way more confident, moving to somebody that I feel has job security. There's a lot of Bears fans out there think if this falls down and he's out of here, I'm not one of them. What are you expecting from Matt Eberflus and kind of even though it's year 3, kind of like a restart for him with an actual roster he can do something with?
The first thing I did, I'm going to admit something embarrassing. I'm like 30% more confident in him with the new look. I don't want to admit that, but like the first time I saw him, I've told the story a bunch of times, but I was at the owners meeting, which we're down in Orlando this year. And I'm sitting in the lobby of, I think it's at the Four Seasons or something. And he walks by me and he's wearing this like really nice blue sweater polo and these white chinos and like a leather backpack. And I was like, is that Matt Eberflus? I didn't even recognize him. And he really does feel like he has a different air about him. And I talked to Matt several times over the years when he was a coordinator, when I was working on certain stuff about just defenses around the NFL. And I always found him to be a very smart, thoughtful coach. There was never you know what, I'm going to do this because this is what I do. It was always, how can I shape what I'm doing on defense to best serve my players and best attack the quarterbacks that I'm playing against? So it wasn't a surprise at all to see that defense take a huge step forward when he took over the day-to-day operation of it last year. But now I think that he kept that job because of the improvements we saw on that side of the ball. Like there's no way around that. And I think that the amount they improved on that side of the ball, he deserved to keep the job. But being a head coach is more than about taking care of your side of the ball. It's about having a cohesive operation that extends throughout the entire building. And what happens with Shane Waldron and what happens with Caleb Williams are ultimately going to determine what Matt Eberflus's future looks like in Chicago. I'm with you. I don't think he's going to get fired after the year because I think the organization is going to do everything in their power to avoid the dysfunction that would come with moving on from him. But I do think that as soon as you draft a guy like Caleb Williams, the hourglass turns over. There's a lot of sand in it, but it is going now. He is on a timeline, even if it's not borrowed time.
Yep. And there's a lot of people's jobs are on the line here. I think we'd be remiss to talk about this new roster without talking about Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles came in almost 3 years ago now. Kind of like not known that much unless you were somebody who really knew what was going on in the Kansas City organization. Everything he's done, especially this offseason, has been like incredible. Just seeing this roster from where it was at 2 years ago to where it's at right now has been amazing. And outside him being a great general manager, which I can actually say that now, I'm very confident saying he's a great general manager, is he's a real nice guy. I think we saw that in the Hard Knock scene where he got emotional. We had to cut Adrian Colbert and just saying like, I was on the other side of that as well when I got cut by the Bears. We talk about changes with Matt Eberflus. Just talk about the change in culture that the Bears has had. I think just from somebody who I've been covering, it's completely different. And I think that trickles down onto what we're seeing. We hope we see on the field. What's your thoughts about Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren, and just the new leadership of the Bears?
If you look at the way that Poles has tried to build the roster and the things that he's tried to attack, what he was going to do was he was going to put the next quarterback, whether it was Justin Fields or probably somebody else, and in this case, Caleb Williams, he was going to do everything in his power to make sure that the organization didn't fail that person. And I'm impressed by that. And you look back at what they did in the top 10 in both of the last 2 drafts, they go get Darnell Wright heading into last year after trading the number 1 pick and getting DJ Moore as part of that selection. So you get a starting tackle and you get a number 1 receiver because it helps you get information on Justin Fields and whether he's the guy. And if he's not, it sets you up to put the next guy in a good situation. And then you walk into this year's draft and you can make an argument. Their biggest hole on the roster was edge rusher, and Dallas Turner, Latu, those guys were still available. And Ryan Poles, even after trading for Keenan Allen, was like, nah, we are going to do everything we can to make sure that this quarterback is going to walk into a situation where he has every opportunity to succeed. Yep. And you can make an argument that he's probably overcorrected in that area. He's probably gone too far in that direction. But I think if you look at some of the failings of the previous regimes, they didn't go far enough in that direction.
Yep.
This is an offense first league. Your success and your long-term success is dictated by how successful your offense is. And him coming from Kansas City, I think, gave him a really strong understanding of that. And I think it's really dictated his decision-making in a way that ultimately is going to be beneficial for this organization in ways that some of the other decision makers haven't been.
Definitely. And, you bring that up and it kind of talks about a perfect segue into Rome Odunze. I think any other draft, and we'd be talking about Rome Odunze being, the spotlight and what's Rome going to do. It kind of feels like Rome is a little bit of an afterthought. I remember listening to, the draft and thinking, typical Bears draft here. If they take a defender, that's typical Bears. If they take an offensive guy, that tells me everything they need to know about the new regime, and they go get Rome Odunze. Rome said himself, he's not here to be a third option. What do you think are the expectations? What can you see Rome doing and how he fits in his offense? And, he's playing with probably 2 future Hall of Famers.
I wonder how the hierarchy is going to shake out, but I also don't care. It doesn't matter to me who's the number 1 receiver, who the number 2 receiver is. I just want them to all be good. And I'll say 2 things about Rome Odunze. I was in Seattle 3rd or 4th day of camp this year, and I was talking to Ryan Grubb, who is the Seahawks offensive coordinator, who was the OC at Washington the last couple of years under Rome Odunze, and he was telling me a story about a couple of the guys on the Bears staff reaching out, and they were asking him, is this real with Rome? Is he really this good of a dude? And Grubb was like, oh yeah, I would adopt that kid if I were given the opportunity. That's the type of guy we're talking about. And hearing that was really encouraging. And then I think back to conversations I've had with Sean McVay about this, but also just the way that you saw this manifest in the Rams offense last year. They go get a guy like Puka Nacua, and Puka's obviously a good talent and he had monster numbers as a receiver. But I think you felt a transformation in what the Rams offense was last year because the attitude that Puka brought to the table. There's a physicality, there's a willingness to block, and it almost felt transformative. The Rams offense felt like a different unit with him than without him because of the personality that you're dropping into it. That's how I feel about Rome Odunze. If you're not going to have practice time to create tough football teams, you need to go out and get tough dudes. Yeah. And Odunze is just the type of guy that he can be a bedrock player in your organization that goes beyond just being a flashy receiver. And that's part of why I was so bullish on the pick and feel so good about it, because you ask anybody in the league and anybody that's come across this guy, and he has nothing but 10 out of 10s in every single category.
Yeah, we even saw that a little bit in the Giants Hard Knocks this offseason with Joe Schoen, and he was really he was kind of torn between him and Malik Neighbors, which way is he gonna go? And Rome, he's from what I've been my small interactions with Rome, he is just a super nice dude, very confident as well, and I definitely think he's gonna be big. Couple more things for you. Let's get into this actual season. So Bears in a tough division. I don't know if it's the toughest division. I think at worst it's top 2 toughest division in the league. You got a team in the Detroit Lions who were, if Dan Campbell didn't pretend like he was playing Madden in the second half, they probably go on to Vegas. You got Green Bay, who a lot of people are high on, and not just saying on just Green Bay. Hey, I don't get why they're that high on them. As far as Super Bowl picks, what do you think about the Bears' chances to compete for the playoffs and any small chance of actually competing to win the North?
I think there's a chance, if Caleb comes in and is immediately a star, in the way that maybe a CJ Stroud was last year, I absolutely think they can be competitive. I just think that the Packers and the Lions are a little bit further along in their plans. And that's why I feel like the areas of the roster and the weaknesses are just harder to pinpoint. Detroit, This is year 4 of their rebuild, and
Yeah.
they've really gone out and attacked the weaknesses that they had coming into the season. You think about the amount of bodies they added in the secondary, the fact that they've really hit on weapons on the offensive side of the ball. And the other part of this that I think is really worth remembering on Detroit's side, especially, it's really, really hard. Quarterbacks have used this term with me before. It's hard to know where the bodies are buried with your offensive
Right.
system in year 1, because you're just figuring out what you do well. And so it's hard to figure out where the weak points are right away. And in the relationship that a Jared Goff has with a Ben Johnson, they're in year 4 together. They know how each other are thinking. They know what the intention behind play calls are. They know why they're doing certain things. With the Bears, there's going to be a feeling out period. Like, it's not an indictment of Shane Waldron or Caleb Williams to say that they're not going to be as far along, even by the end of this season, than Jared Goff and Ben Johnson are right now. And even though Jordan Love is in year 2 as a starter, this is year, I think, 6 of Matt LaFleur's system in Green Bay, and Jordan Love has been there for 5 years. So even if the Bears are one step behind those teams, that's okay. It's just I think it's important to acknowledge where they are in the process and where the other teams in this division are in the process, and why that creates a little bit of a gap.
Do you think that they make the playoffs this year? What's your prediction on record, and do they make the playoffs?
I think they're going to be right in the mix. I think if the quarterback is who we think he is, they should be right in the mix. I just think it's important to remember. I'll ask you this. You look at DVOA, just advanced stats on offense and by efficiency. Where do you think the Texans finished last year?
Well, as far as offense?
Yeah.
Probably in between 10 and 13, I'm guessing.
They were 14th.
Okay, 14. Yeah.
And then think about how we talked about that Texans offense last year.
Yeah.
It was the greatest thing we'd ever seen from a rookie quarterback, and they were 14th. So in the best case scenario, the Bears are probably a slightly above average offense. And again, that's not an indictment of them. That would be awesome with a rookie quarterback if you had a slightly above average offense. If you pair that with the 8th best defense, a top 10-ish defense, that should be a team that, like the Texans last year, competed for a wild card-ish spot. If they were in a better division, they wouldn't have won the division. And I think ultimately that would be a really good outcome for this Bears team. If they were hunting for one of those wild card spots in week 18, they were an 8-9 win team as we got to Christmas. I think that is more than reasonable for expectations with this group heading into the year.
Definitely. Final topic for you before we get you out of here. This week is the opener at home against Tennessee Titans. Tennessee had a lot of changes. New offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, whole new coach staff, new head coach. We heard Jamal Adams is going to be out. DeAndre Hopkins is questionable. He's trying to play on a hurt MCL. I don't know if I would do that on that Soldier Field grass, but he's questionable. What do you like? Who do you got this week, and how do you think this game is going to go for the Bears and for the Titans?
I think I'll still take the Bears. I think they're a 3-point favorite or 3.5, which I think makes sense, given that it's at home and given some of the questions about the Titans. But I think the Titans have a chance to be better than some people think. If they went out and remade their offensive line, they brought in Bill Callahan, who's arguably the best offensive line coach in the NFL. Their head coach and play caller, Brian Callahan, is somebody I have a lot of respect for. I'm really curious how they're going to build this offense, because I think the stuff that they're going to lean on with Will Levis is very different than the things that he leaned on with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. And I think that really speaks to the flexibility that Brian has in his background. And if you look at what they did on defense, they added a lot of talent on defense. I mean, they went out and spent on Chidobe Awuzie. They went out and spent on L'Jarius Sneed. They went out and spent on I guess they traded for Ernest Jones. Kenneth Murray was the other off-ball linebacker. That doesn't really excite me. But they went out and spent on the corners. They got a couple new safeties. They brought in Quandre Diggs. They went out and traded for Ernest Jones. They still have a decent amount of talent up front. Denard Wilson, their defensive coordinator, came over from Baltimore. He's somebody that a lot of people in the league are really excited about. So I think the Titans, if things go well for them and if Will Levis hits to a certain extent, I think they have a chance to compete for a wild card spot in the AFC. So it wouldn't necessarily surprise me to see things be pretty tight and see a close game on Sunday. But I think that says more about the Titans than it says anything disappointing about the Bears.
Definitely. We are here with Robert Mays at the Athletic Football Show. Let them know where they can follow you at and everything you got going on with the pod.
Pod's 3 days a week. Heading into the season, we do Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. We do a recap show live on Sunday night every single Sunday, breaking down the games from that day. Pod's available overnight, and we have shows on Wednesday, and then we have a preview show on Friday. It's available wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify. Most of our shows go up on YouTube, and I'm at Robert Mays on Twitter, and I am tweeting that stuff out consistently. So if you're in the market for a national football show, we would love if you would come check us out.
Definitely, man. Check them out. Thank you for joining us, bro. Definitely got to get you back on here at some point during the season.
Happy to do it. I'm always watching, so.
Appreciate you, bro. Have a good weekend.
Have a good one.
Shout out to Robert Mays. Shout out for him joining us. Definitely getting tuned with the Athletic Football Show. We're going to bring Mikey and Bang and Dante back in. Hey, the score, man. Holla at me. That's all I'm going to say. The score. Holla at me. Y'all looking to fill that seat. Holla at your boy. Anyway,
Look at you. Look at you.
I'll let you boy. Anyway,
y'all brought me back just in time, boy. I was about to be on cup number 3. It's perfect timing.
Dante having him a Friday already, man. Let's get into our breakdown, our preview of this Sunday's game. Shout out to Orlando, call me 670 Scott. But shout out to everybody who paid attention to that. But anyway, Bears Titans this week at the lakefront. We're gonna get into our breakdown. Me and Robert May just talked about this a second ago. I think this game is going to be a competitive one. We'll give our picks in a minute, but I think that I'm very interested to see not just the first. I'm not worried about the opening drive. I think as Bears fans, especially during the Eberflus Yetzi era, we've seen fire opening drives. I want to see what it looks like when the scripted play is over. That's something I'm looking for. I'm looking for it at the, is it Jeffrey Simmons, the matchup against the offensive line. What's Nate Davis going to look like? I have a lot of questions about that, but I don't think this is going to be some type of game where either team kind of gets outmatched right away. But I think the main thing we got to watch is I want to see what the playbook looks like. Like, it gets real vanilla during the preseason. They're not opening everything. I want to see them I'm not expecting them to use like Kansas City, but the way Kansas City uses their running backs is something that I want to see. We just saw on Hard Knocks that Vilas was a lot closer to getting cut than at least I thought that he was. I want to see them use Vilas in the running back area and try to get him more possessions. Try to split that up between him, Khalil Herbert, and DeAndre Swift, and that'll make the game even easier for Caleb. So I'm really interested to see how the playbook is going to be, what the game plan is, or something that Caleb and also Shane Waldron pointed out this week is they're going up against a first-time defensive coordinator. So it's not like this is something where they have old film that they can kind of rely on. Even that new defensive coordinator, he was a DB's coach in Baltimore last year, so he wasn't even doing that there. So that's what I'll be looking for. Bang, what is your what are things that you're gonna be looking for in this first game?
It's that first drive. I want to see how the team looks. I want to see how the team is prepared. Because that first game against Green Bay last year, they came out lackadaisical. They came out flat. And we end up talking about how we felt like they were not prepared. So I want to see that first 15 script from Walden and what he does after that. Even though I believe that the Bears have enough, that like May said, there's a lot of talent that ended up on that defense of the Titans. So there's going to be a lot of pressure, especially in the front. Like Jeffrey Simmons is a bad man. So I'm interested to see what that first script looks like and that first drive in general. Can you capitalize on the momentum that you could build and come out strong and not lackadaisical like they did last year?
If y'all hear that dog in the background, I apologize. But Dante, what's your feeling on what you're going to be looking at in this first game?
I really want to see the offense overall because I'm with you. Preseason, we knew it was going to be real vanilla. Yeah, it's the West Coast offense. Yeah, we're going to throw the ball. But I really want to see, some of the formations, some of the route combinations, and seeing Rome Odunze. Because I agree. I don't think he said, he's not there to be a number 3. And I think that him and Caleb have a connection already. We've seen that from, since draft night. the way that they've, been excited and pushed each other. And I think that's going to continue on the field. So from an offensive standpoint, I'm with you. We all know how scripted drives go. So I'm not really going to be too excited if he comes out and just executes perfect because they practiced that all week. But as the game continues to go and we see the flow of the offense, I really want to see what they do. As far as the defense, Kyle Gordon. Really excited to see him. I think he's going to be a extremely impactful player, especially if our defensive line can pick it up a notch. I know everybody's going to say that's what they want to see. That's kind of the obvious. But I think, given what they did at the back half of the season, if they can do that with the DBs we have, I think this team is going to be tough to score on. So really, like I said, Kyler Gordon in the slot and Rome Odunze are the top two things that I'm looking forward to on Sunday.
Mikey, you've been saying from the jump that you really paying attention to how the Bears come out this game. You voiced concerns about how they would work around it in preseason and camp. And before we get to, I actually want your opinion, because we didn't get a chance to ask you about that. Were you impressed, or actually did you like how Flus went about camp in preseason this year compared to last year?
Oh yeah, definitely. I like that he stuck to his word, and he gave Caleb those. I think it was about 41 game reps plus the reps from the scrimmage with the Bengals earlier that week. But I like how they let the offense work through some of those kinks that they had. To be honest, the first two drives of that game, the Bears were going up against the Bengals second string defense, and it looked terrible. It just didn't look good. But I like the fact that Flus allowed them to go ahead and work that out, and then we got to see that connection with Caleb spreading the ball around. I know he got the ball to December Webster. Khalil Herbert had a big 20-yard run. Then he had the miraculous highlight play for the Bears of the preseason where he rolled out to his left, throwing off one leg to Rome. And then, we know how the rest of that drive ended out. But I think it was beneficial for Caleb, obviously for Shane Waldron, for Rome Odunze, and for the offense, just because how Ryan Post said it's time to win. So they need to catch Caleb up, as up to speed as much as possible. So I'm cool with that. I was happy with how they went about the preseason. I think Tyson Bagent looked really well too. One thing that stood out to me is that this just looks like a franchise and an organization that's heading the right way. Everything seems to be done right or being done right. We saw that highlighted in Hard Knocks, but it was, there was some competition on this roster. It's really tough, to crack the roster. So I really like where we're going. So preseason was cool with me, and then just going, as we segue into week one and to the home debut of Caleb Williams and this iteration of the 2024 Bears. For me, it's about timing. I want to see how Caleb plays. Obviously, the game is going to be sped up. I want to see how his wide receivers are. He got two new wide receivers, the three, because DJ was obviously here last year, but it's a new offensive system and a new quarterback. So I want to see the timing as far as routes, as far as getting into his drop. And I really want to see how they utilize DeAndre Swift. I think DeAndre Swift is going to be X factor and a half for this offense, because I think he has the potential to put up almost 1,300 yards combined if we add in receiving, what he can do in the receiving game and also on the ground. So I want to see that. And then just for me is, can this defense get after a young quarterback on the other side of Will Levis? Will Levis is kind of in that spot right now where the Titans are taking they went and drafted him, and they're giving him, the reins. Obviously, they went ahead and they traded Malik Willis. So, and Ryan Tannehill's gone. So I want to see if we can bring pressure on him with Montez Sweat. If that can open, if they double Montez Sweat, does that, allow Javon Dexter to get off and wreak havoc back there? So I think Will Levis, he does have a big arm, and I think he can do some things in the passing game. But I feel like this defense, with Eric Washington being added and the emphasis that they put on in OTAs and camp on blitzing more and really coming after the quarterback, I think they need to get after him early, because I think if they do, and Flus does send the house, I think Levis is liable to, to cough up that rock and, the field position game is going to be key when you're dealing with the rookie wide receiver. So I think the more advantages that the defense can give Caleb to have to operate in the short field, then, the better for the offense and the outcome on Sunday.
Yeah, and you getting to the quarterback is you bring up a good point. Looking at the
I agree. I agree. Will Levis is fucking
I believe Will Levis stinks too. But I've also seen bad quarterbacks have career days on the Bears. So I've seen that a lot too. But talking about getting to the quarterback, the injury report today, maybe a little concerning for some people. Montez Sweat was questionable. He's been questionable all week with a toe injury, but he practicing full for the first time this week. Flu said that him and Keenan Allen are expected to play. But the question marks to me here, new Bear Darrell Taylor, he did not practice today. He's questionable for Sunday with a foot injury. And then you got DeMarcus Walker, who landed on the injury report yesterday with a groin injury. He was limited. He is questionable. I wouldn't be shocked if all three play. We know Taylor's going to play. I wouldn't be shocked if both play, Taylor and Walker. But it also wouldn't shock me if one or both of them missed. And I think that would be not the way you want to start off this season. You don't want, by not being able to send as much pressure and have to relying on your backups and things like that. But if I had to bet, I think that Darrell, my prediction is that all three will play, just because I know that DeMarcus Walker is a psycho, just for being around him. He has a very intimidating energy. Like he's always high intense, and the way he's been hyping up this season and what he plans to do, said that last year he was injured 75% of it. I think he's going to want to go out there and try to, send a message and not just sit on the bench for his team. But also wouldn't shock me if he did sit down, because groins are something you don't want to play with. Bang, any concerns about this injury report or nothing much, because it's just week one?
It's just week one, so I ain't really tripping about it. It's the first game of the season, so I think a lot of people are just going to be like, but nah. I'm not worried about it. Call me week 4 when we see certain things consistent. But what do you expect? It's football. So I ain't really tripping off of
it. Dante, any concerns on the injury front?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's week one, like you said. These are all little small injuries, limited in practice and whatnot. But I mean, that's it. That's football. I think as long as we don't have any major injuries to, guys who are super critical on the offensive side of the ball, I think we'll be okay. I think our defense has some depth, and unless it's something on the D-line, I'm not really too concerned. So right now, my concern is a 2 out of 10. It's nothing serious right now.
Mikey, how about you? I know you hit the eyeball emoji when you saw Tez on the injury report earlier. Are you concerned about any of this?
No, I think if anything right now, it'd probably be just DeMarcus Walker. I seen the confusion with Flus and the media report that came out, with the actual injury list for the week, as we head into Sunday. He kind of said, no, they're good to go, but then he's like, they're not on the list. Oh, wait, they're on the list. I'm not worried about them. The only one that I would kind of be worried about is DeMarcus Walker, just because of his versatility. I mean, you're already down, Zach Pickens at the defensive tackle spot, and we know that DeMarcus Walker kind of interchangeable plays, a little bit inside, plays outside. But I'm not worried. And, just my last point as we get to the Titans aspect of it too, I think they do have a good roster, but I think that they're going to be a team that probably struggles a little bit early and finds their way later on. When you add that many new pieces, like, it just doesn't work automatically. There's a lot of moving parts. So I just don't think that we're going to get like the best version of the Titans, on September 8th, that they might be, come say, late November.
I 100% agree with that. You got full season Will Levis. You got new wide receivers. You got one who's either hurt and won't be playing. You got 2 new coordinators, 2 coaches, a new coach, head coach. It's a lot of changes for them as well. That's why I think
you got a new running back in Pollard.
Yeah, I keep forgetting Pollard's on that team.
You got some new, you got Awuzie, you got L'Jarius Sneed, you got Diggs, you got the new linebacker that just got there last week. There's a lot of moving parts. The one thing that does concern me, obviously, is Jeffrey Simmons, because he throws people out the club for breakfast.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think that this is a game that the Bears should take.
And it's a whole new coaching staff too. Like,
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. You got I've never been a big fan of Brian Callahan as an OC, so I'm definitely not going to be a big fan of him as coach. Now, his dad is one of the best offensive line coaches ever. And like we've said, Jeffrey Simmons is a beast. But we're talking about Flus and the Bears and everything. Your first game of your as a head coach of your career, it's going to be a lot of jitters and stuff with that too. So is that team fully prepared for what's going to happen? Oh no, we'll see.
Let's get into our game picks of this week, man. I have thought long and hard about this game. If you listen to 79th and Hallis this week, you already know which way I'm going. I got the Bears winning this game 24-7. I think it'll be a close game up until midway in the third quarter. I think that both offenses might come out a little shaky. I expect the defenses to really show out the first half of the game. But I just think that ultimately Caleb's going to be too much. I think Caleb throws for about 250. I think he has 2 touchdowns passing. And I think this is going to be a big run game too. I think DeAndre Swift gets the score. Here's my bold prediction. I got 2 bold predictions. Velus Jones scores a running touchdown, and Kevin Byard gets revenge on his old team. He has a pick 6. I think the Bears win this one 24-7, finally winning opening game. Even I said finally, they won 2 years ago, but winning an opening game and starting this year off with momentum. Momentum is a big thing. I'm not calling any game a must win in a 17-game season, but I feel a lot better going into NRG Stadium next weekend, kind of playing with house money a little bit. Like, all right, we beat the team we're supposed to beat. Now let's see if we can beat who I feel is this year's NFL's culture team and knock them out real quick. And that'd be a nice 2-0 start for them. So I got Bears 24-7. Mikey, which way do you got this going? And do you have any bold predictions?
I got the Bears winning 26-14. My bold predictions is Tony Pollard has both touchdowns for the Titans, and Roma Dunze is the first career passing touchdown for Caleb Williams. I think we get that connection right away. I'm really worried about Tony Pollard just because I know he can be versatile out the backfield. The last time that we went up against him and he went up against the Eberflus defense, that was when he was with the Cowboys and he had a career game where he had 131 rushing yards and 3 TDs. So just keep an eye on him because I think this secondary will be able to lock up those wide receivers, especially with a Gimpy Hopkins. I don't think Levis is going to have much success, so I think we have to key in on Tony Pollard. But I got the Bears winning, the Bears covering. Go Bears.
Dante, you say you all in on this season. You had them going 12-6, was it? I don't
12-5.
12-5, my bad. I got forgetting about the games. How you see this weekend's game going?
I got it as a dub for the Bears. I got it 24-10. I agree with Mikey when he said I think the Titans are going to be a good team. I think they're going to compete for a wild card in the AFC, but I think that's a team that's going to take more time for them to get it together. I think it will for the Bears, at least especially on the defensive end. So I think my score is going to be 24-10. Actually, I think Caleb gets 3 touchdowns, 2 passing and 1 rushing. So I think this is going to be a really good game for the Bears. And again, I should have said this in my concerns. As long as the interior of the offensive line can hold it down, even with his ability to extend the play and everything like that, as long as they can keep him clean, I think this is going to be a really good game for Caleb. I think Will Levis is going to give us the ball at least once. And I think overall it's going to be a very, very happy first game on the lakefront. So, yeah, I'm going to go 24-10 Bears.
Bang, take us home on the local hour. How you see this Sunday going?
Yo, I got the Bears 30-10. All right. I got hits principle all day long. Will Levis is going to throw 2 interceptions and have a fumble. I got Austin Booker coming out the gate with a sack and a half. Caleb Williams is going to have at least 2 touchdowns. Romo Dunze will be getting one of those. I think it's going to be a fun day on Sunday.
So if a shout out to Jay Illa, play the Dirk album cuts again. So this time it can feel better than it did a year ago. When I was hella hype walking into Soldier Field, man. But that's all we got for the local hour. If you want to watch this in full, of course, you can subscribe to the Patreon. It'll be up on the local hour. We'll be up on there tonight. When we come back, we're going to recap Chiefs Ravens. Lamar Jackson, bring your ass down to the stage. We got to talk We're going to get into our week 1 picks, talk a little bit of college football, and also we got Mikey's weekend bets. We'll be back in about a minute.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah, we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.
Welcome back to the second hour here on I'm Not Gonna Hold You. It is the season 5 premiere. Shout out to everybody who watched the first local hour, man. We here to break down everything else going on in the world of the NFL. NFL kicked off last night. Chiefs got their rings, their third ring, going for a three-peat over there in rainy Arrowhead Stadium. They ended up winning 27-20. Looked like the Ravens had that game won, but Isaiah Lively did not have his foot in the end zone. Had his foot over on the line, did not count. Like I said, Lamar was too close to win it. Patrick Mahomes, 20 of 28, 291 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Probably had 2 touchdowns, but Boo Boo Schuster does not have hands. Isaiah Pacheco, he had 15 carries, 45 yards. He also put in a touchdown, but what a debut for Xavier Worthy. First of all, we've got to, really shame the Buffalo Bills for allowing him to drop to the fucking Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little skeptical with him. I was like, just because the nigga fast don't mean the nigga really catch like that. Amazing debut for him. He had 2 scores, and he's the 9th person in NFL history to score a touchdown on their first actual possession from the line of scrimmage. The defense played really, really well. That was a game that if you really like defense, you really see why Chris Jones is paid as much as he's paid. He had a sack, but his pressure was all over the place, really making life miserable for Lamar Jackson. That secondary didn't look like they missed a beat, even after losing L'Jarius Sneed. On the Ravens side, Lamar Jackson went 26 of 41, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. But when he really, really made his mark was on the rushing, 16 carries, 122 yards. Derrick Henry, his debut, 13 carries, 46 yards, 1 touchdown before they completely forgot he even existed. Isaiah Likely, 9 receptions, 111 yards, 1 touchdown. Maybe should have probably been 3. There was a couple on that didn't happen, man. So let's get right to it. Black people, stop making excuses for this nigga. All right, like we gotta stop. We gotta stop. I understand we like him, and I'm gonna keep saying this every time. I do not hate Lamar Jackson. I hate what people think Lamar Jackson is as a passer, and we see time and time again when it comes to the butt clench type moments, whether he's going up against or a lot against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, he doesn't do enough to get it done. Now, is he a great football player? I still think he's an elite quarterback. Out of my top 5s, I'm ranking him in number 5. If we just talking about from the quarterback position, no disrespect to him as a football player, he's great. Having said that, it's to the point in Lamar Jackson's career where it really doesn't matter what you're doing in the regular season because he's good in the regular season. I mean, you can't just be somebody reliant on your feet and win the MVP, win 2 MVPs like he's done. He passed very well last season, but it didn't translate when it came to these games in the playoffs, and especially against Kansas City. And we saw that thing against here. There's a lot of things here. What was the offensive game playing great? No. I kind of felt like I was watching a Chicago Bears game last year. It was like a lot of Luke Getsy ass plays. Offensive line wasn't the best, and none of his receivers had a lot of problems getting open. But the issue is when they did get open, Lamar couldn't hit them. And I think it comes to the point where we've got to keep it real when it comes. We can love a quarterback and still be honest about his play. I saw 2 people last night talking about, oh, he was generational tonight. MVP performance. Like, what fucking game did we watch? We must have watched something different. On that final possession, by the way, he's 1 of 8 in the red zone all night. 1 of 8 in the red zone. And a lot of them was on his own doing. I'm going to give credit to the Chiefs defense, but he takes a little blame in that as well. The touchdown, that should have been a touchdown to Isaiah Lively in the corner, but he threw a hospital ball too fucking far and the nigga couldn't catch it. He was wide open. The Zay Jones ball, I don't know what the fuck was going on there. I give him credit for the passes, likely just got to keep his foot actually in bounds. But to me, it kind of looked like I was watching Justin Fields, where he has the other parts where he's not even looking to even throw. He's just immediately trying to go to run. And I think that also when you're the offensive line, it kind of puts them in a bad position as well. When he has the spectacular plays, he had a couple sideline throws to Isaiah Likely, a couple to Bateman that made you think, oh, these are really the big time plays. But when it comes down to cutting the mustard, he doesn't make the plays that you need to be. You know what I'm saying? Too many dump passes that we saw. And that's just my issue with him. It's to the point where I think that they're going to bounce back from this. I think they're going to have a great season. They might even win the division again. I think Lamar's going to have a really great season as well. But what can you do? Like, when is Lamar going to take that next step passing wise to be able to beat Patrick Mahomes, be able to beat any of these other elite quarterbacks in the NFL? And I think if you're a Ravens fan, that's got to be a little disappointing to see, because now you're pointing in your, I won't say rebuild, but window where it's like, okay, we got to find a way to get over that hump. And that to me was something that I found concerning last night. I'm going to go to Dante first. Dante, what did you see from the Ravens, and who should feel better about how this game ended?
I don't think it's really about feeling better with these two teams, because you both have Super Bowl aspirations. So at the end of the day, this was just early litmus test of what your team can do and what your team can do against top talent. As for Lamar, like you said, I agree. Some of the play calling I didn't really like. He made some great throws, he missed some throws, but I don't think it's fair to say it at this point. It doesn't matter what he does in the regular season, because if that's the case, if he won this game, we still would be sitting here saying, well, shit, you got to do it in the playoffs. So, I mean, it's one of those things where,
say that, by the way.
I know you would, but other people wouldn't have been saying that. They would have been like, see, it's his year, he ready. So, well, knowing how we all know people take the NFL season because it's only 17 weeks, and they'll sit here and they'll hype it every week because every week means so much. I don't take too much from this, but I just think it was a really good game. We saw the Ravens defense get touched. We don't see them give up 27 often. So to see the Chiefs go down there and score points, worthy shot. You put it in the in the chat yesterday. They were calling him good Kadarius Toney.
Hey, good Kadarius Toney.
I mean, seeing him play, especially the reverse, that was a great play call. Giving Andy Reid a weapon like that, seeing what he'll be able to do with it. I'm excited about that. But I don't think it's too much you can take from it because it's week 1 of week 17. But I mean, it was a great start to the season.
Mikey, man, what'd you feel about what you saw last night? If you were a Raven fan, how would you feel the next day after this?
If I was a Raven fan, I would just take all of our Bears Luke Getsy tweets and just backspace Luke Getsy and put Todd Monken's name in there, because I do not understand the game plan once again. Shying away from the run. Derrick Henry looks like he was running in quicksand, man. I get it. He's possibly a Hall of Famer, an amazing player, but I don't know if that's going to work. But I just didn't understand the offense. I didn't understand the game plan. A lot of passes at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. It was, like you said, it was very reminiscent of the offenses we've seen Justin Fields running, during his tenure with the Bears. As far as the Chiefs, those motherfuckers are going to three-peat. I'm just going to say it now. I said it last year. I said it earlier. They're going to three-peat, man. I just think that they're just too focused, too determined. And when you have that guy, number 15 back there, they're going to make shit work. I mean, yesterday was a perfect game for the Chiefs in my mind, because you put up 27 points at home. You get a couple stops. Your defense was putting pressure on Lamar. And, it never really felt like the game was in jeopardy. I mean, I understand that the Ravens had a chance with the, had the ball last, but like even that was kind of fluky. Like, did any of y'all at any point watching that think that Lamar was going to be able to put 7 on the board?
No.
Because like I didn't have any confidence in that. I mean, to throw to fucking Likely, he threw that shit to Taylor Swift and up in her
right. He just happened to
skybox.
catch it. Yeah.
And Isaiah Likely was just, I don't know what the fuck. He was just pressing triangle on the button, and he fucking, I thought he was dead. And then next thing you know, next play, he's in. One play, then he's back in. So, I think the Chiefs are good. I think they're only going to get better. And they're going to find creative ways to use Xavier Worthy. Rashee Rice, he looks like, he's going to be a guy. There was high praise for him coming out of SMU. And, we'll see what happens with the suspension if there is one. But, I just take it that the Chiefs are poised and they're on a mission. And I don't see nobody that's really going to beat them as long as they stay healthy.
Bang, what's your thoughts from last night's game?
Boy, I was stupid for taking the field. Boy, that Xavier Worthy pick. Oh my God. When he ran for that first touchdown, I was like, shit, it's a wrap. These boys gonna go 3 in a row. It was Isaiah Likely at the end of the game at the press conference said, if this is their best or whatever.
He was wild.
Yeah, he was wild. Basically, said that the Ravens will be better. And I'm like, if this is their best or whatever. Well, I was sitting there like, well, the Chiefs didn't play all that well either. That wasn't their best. Wait till you get to week 7 or 8 when they're hitting on all cylinders. This might be the best team that the Kansas City Chiefs has had in this Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes era. It's scary time.
Yeah.
When Hollywood Brown gets back, it's scary time. When they actually jail, it's scary time. That's when I looked at what I saw last night, went to sleep, and then woke back up and watched the rest of the game and said, oh my God, the best chance that the Baltimore Ravens had to win that game is last night. And Lamar Jackson didn't do enough to win the game. I see people, Scott, I can't deny some of the stuff that you said when it came to him. I think that missed pass to Zay Flowers is probably more on Zay than it is on Lamar, because when your quarterback is scrambling around, you have to find the quarterback. So it was probably, or just get into a spot that is easier for the quarterback to get to you. So if he does not move a little bit, then that's a touchdown. But that first pass to Isaiah Likely was bad. That second one that ended up being the touchdown that was a bit high. So, it's scary time. It's scary hours for the NFL. If that team we saw last night is going to get better.
Yeah, 100%. Let's go on to our division predict. We're gonna predict who we think are gonna win these divisions, who we think are gonna be the wild card teams, and then we're gonna pick, who we think is gonna be MVP and who's gonna be in the Super Bowl, man. So I'm gonna start off with mine. We're not gonna go by like division by division. We're just gonna all say who we got winning what, and a quick explanation of why we got them going there. I'm gonna start in the NFC. I'm gonna start with the NFC North, which is the division of the beloved. I've got the Detroit Lions winning the NFC North once again. They went 30 years without winning a division, and I think they're gonna win this joint once again. They've got a much tougher schedule. They've got a first place schedule, but one of the things about that schedule is they only have 2 games outside, and that don't even come to like the final weeks of the season. I think it'll be a tougher year for them, but I do think it'll be enough to win the NFC North. In the NFC West, it's going to be more of the same. I don't trust the Rams. I like what Arizona's got going on, but I don't think they're going to do it this early. Seattle is a real question mark with them. No Pete Carroll there, no Shane Waldron there. I really want to see what Geno's going to look like in that point. I think this is going to be the San Francisco 49ers again. I don't think they're going to win as many games they won last year, but I do think they're going to win that division with ease, honestly. NFC South. This, I think, is going to be a 2-team battle. The Bucs won last year. Baker Mayfield finally looked like the quarterback that people hold to be when he got drafted by Cleveland all those years ago. They brought him back, gave him a nice deal, brought Mike Evans back. The team is pretty much intact from when it was last year. I think it's going to be a real toss-up between them and Atlanta, but I'm going to give the edge to the Atlanta Falcons. I think if Kirk Cousins is healthy, I think he'll be enough to help this out. We've been saying for the last 2 years, they got all these weapons. They just need a quarterback. I know Dante wanted Justin to be there. A lot of people wanted Justin to be in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback when healthy. Now, if he gets hurt, I don't trust in Michael Penix. So if he does get hurt, I think it'd be a question mark. But if he stays healthy, I think Atlanta will win this division. In the NFC East, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this is going to be the NFC least again because I'm not high on the Eagles. There's a lot of question marks about what's going on in the locker room. Does Jalen Hurts even, mess with Nick Sirianni? There's been a lot of rumors about their relationship. And also, we got to see, can Jalen Hurts get back to the play that he had in 2022? He had a good last year, but it wasn't the MVP caliber of production that he had 2 years ago when they went to the Super Bowl, man. So those are my the NFC division winners. For AFC. I'm gonna go to the AFC. Excuse my camera for moving. I'm by a fucking train, so there's only so much I can do for that. But in the AFC North, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals because Joe Burrow. This is a make or break year, in my opinion, for Joe Burrow because he has to stay healthy. But when he's healthy, he is the second best quarterback in the NFL, the only quarterback not named Tom Brady to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. And I just really believe what they got going on there when this team is healthy. Even when he wasn't healthy, they still stayed competitive in the mix in the division. Question marks there. You do have T. Higgins won't be playing this week. He's out. Jamar Chase is questionable because he's still getting back in the game shape. He's going to play without that contract extension. So there have some questions there, but I still think it'll be enough to win this division. AFC West, there's nothing else to be said. Kansas City Chiefs, I ain't even really got to give you a reason for that. Just look at the rest of the niggas in that division. AFC South, it's going to be a tougher division this year. I mean, it was tough last year. I think Indianapolis can compete. I think that Jacksonville, this is a make or break year for Trev and Doug Peterson as well. I'm not as big on Houston as everybody else as far as like making the Super Bowl and shit like that. But I do think they'll win this division again. I think CJ Stroud is going to be great again in season 2. I see no reason why he'll take a take a step back. You got Stephon Diggs there, another year of Tank Dell. You got Joe Mixon in the backfield. They added Daniil Hunter to that defense and another year of D'Amico Ryans. So I think that they will win the AFC South. AFC East, this is a tough one for me. I went back and forth between the Dolphins and the Jets. And I can't believe I'm saying this because the nigga who's a quarterback I hate more than the devil is fucking self. That is Aaron Rodgers. I got the New York Jets winning this division. I think if the Jets are healthy, if all of this is with healthy, but especially a guy coming off an Achilles injury at his age, Aaron Rodgers take away the fact that, he is just not a likable human being. His own mother doesn't even like his bitch ass. He can throw the fucking football. And I do think that him and Garrett Wilson be a great connection. You got Breece Hall a year removed from that ACL injury. And that defense is nasty. And I think they'll be even better. I've got the New York Jets winning the division for the first time since the Rex Ryan era. So those are my division winners. I'm going to go to Bang. Bang, who you got coming out of these divisions in the AFC and the NFC?
Let me go ahead and pull up my notes because we talked about this on Some Dude. Make sure to listen to the latest episode. Be delusional. In the NFC East, I got the Dallas Cowboys. Very rarely, I think it's been years since somebody repeated. But I have more faith in the Cowboys than I do have in the team that's playing tonight, the Philadelphia Eagles. In the NFC South, I have the Atlanta Falcons. I think that's just going to be a runaway division win for the Falcons. In the NFC North, and speaking of being delusional, I got the Chicago Bears. In fact, I think that the last game of the season is going to have the Bears versus Green Bay fighting for that last that division title. So there's that. For the NFC West, I have the Rams. I think that the 49ers is going to take a step back. I think that the Rams, Matthew Stafford, you got weapons on each side of the wide receiver position. He has one of the better running backs in the NFC, and Kyron Williams. offensive line is pretty decent. The defense, I have some high hopes for at least one of the players on that defense. They don't have Aaron Donald, so it remains to be seen what happens. But I do think that they take a step up. The San Francisco 49ers take a step down. In the AFC, I have the New York Jets winning the AFC East, the Texans winning the AFC South, the AFC North. I have the Bengals winning that one. And, of course, the Chiefs are going to win the AFC West.
You drinking all the Bears Kool-Aid. I would love to clinch the division in Lambeau Field.
Oh, hey, man, be delusional.
Be delusional. Be delusional, Bears fans. Mikey, how you see these divisions shaping up this year?
All right, let's get it. NFC North, I got the Lions. I just think that they're built better in the trenches, and they're gonna I think that they're gonna go ahead and win this division. NFC West, I got the Niners. As much as I want to go to Rams, I got the Niners, but I do think that this is the last year of the current Niners iteration as we know it with Kittle, Debo, and McCaffrey. And Ayuk. I think that they're going to start transitioning to kind of being a little bit younger at the skill position spots. NFC South, I'm going to ride with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I just trust more in their defense. I really do like Baker Mayfield and the career that he's putting for himself down there. I think it's very tough. You guys have heard me say it before. It is very tough to play down in Florida late in the year. So that is a built-in home field advantage. I'm going to ride with them. Although I do think the Falcons will be improved. In the NFC East, I'm going to take the Eagles. I think Vic Fangio is going to have this defense humming, and I think Kellen Moore is going to allow Jalen Hurts to do some things in the passing game that we might have not seen yet, from him in his career. In the AFC East, I want to ride with the Dolphins, but I can't trust them. So I will take the Jets. They do have it's going to come down between the Jets and the Dolphins. I think to me, they do have a very tough back half of the schedule, but I think the Jets, as long as Aaron Rodgers stay healthy, we know that he will not trick off the game for them, and their defense is pretty good. So I'll take the Jets. In the AFC North, all things considered, and everything that we said the last segment, I'm still taking the Ravens. They gave the Chiefs their best shot, and a lot of teams would not be able to hang with the Ravens the way the Chiefs do. So I'll still take the Ravens to repeat. In the South, I'm going to ride with the Houston Texans. I'm not a believer in Anthony Richardson. I think the Titans will be improved, but I don't think they're ready. And the Jaguars, this is the year that Doug Peterson gets fired. He will get fired after the Bears beat them in London. I'm calling here. And then in the AFC West, I'm going with Bo Nix. Fuck out of here. I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. I'm going with the Chiefs.
Dante, hit us with your picks for the division winners.
All right, yeah, let's from the top, AFC East. I have the New York Jets winning the AFC East. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy, and I think that offense is going to be able to put up a lot of points on people. So, no, as long as they keep him upright and that that Achilles is right, I think they're going to win that division. I think you're going to see a fall off from Buffalo without any real receivers. I know a lot of the Keon Coleman hype because of his personality on social media, but we got to see him actually play and see what they do with that. So that's the AFC East. AFC North.
He said, "Let me take a swig of my drink."
I wanted to pick Joe Burrow. I really did want to pick Joe Burrow, but I actually think that the Baltimore Ravens are going to win that division again. I think this is going to be a very tough division. I don't know what the quarterback situation is in Pittsburgh, and obviously I've taken the fan glasses off when it comes to Justin. So, even if he does get the start, we'll still have to see what they do. That offensive line has a lot of question marks. So I think with that division, I think you're going to see Baltimore take that. The AFC South, I still got Houston. I got Houston repeating. I think they will have, more challenges this year because, you're not catching anybody off guard anymore. Now people, have a year worth of film. I think they'll still be a good football team and they'll still win this division. But I could see them, being a 9-8 team winning the division because, the rest of this division is still, building. I think the Colts are still a couple years away. Tennessee, we got to see, like you said, that's a team that's damn near. They said it in the comments, like an AAU team. It's a lot of new pieces. Jacksonville has really put up a shut-up time for Trevor Lawrence. He's avoided a lot of the slander that he could have gotten because everybody else in his draft class was ass. So I mean, we've ignored the fact that he's been pretty up and down. But so I got Houston winning that AFC South. AFC West, like you said, Kansas City. I do think the Chargers will be a surprise team. If you need tickets, holla at me. I got a Raiders ticket for sale. Let's head to the NFC. Oh no, definitely. I got Dallas. I got Dallas repeating as NFC East champions. I think that division is going to beat up on each other.
They didn't win the NFC. Didn't Philly win the NFC slash? No, the Philly Jags.
Dallas.
Dallas
won it.
You're right.
Yeah.
Philly Jags. Yeah.
But no, I think now this may be hot take-ish. I think there's going to be competition for that number 2 spot between Philly and Washington. I'm one of those people. I'm buying the Jaden Daniels hype. I think this season's going to be very good.
Left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders.
That shit is crazy. But no, I got them. I think they'll be competing for 2. But I think Dallas. I think Dak, especially contract year. We know how quarterbacks do in a contract year. I think Dak is going to go crazy this year and show Jerry why he has to pay up. And so they'll take that division. For our division, even though yes, I do have the Bears going 12-5. I got the Detroit Lions winning the division. I'm with you. The Lions don't have a outdoor game until week 16. 16 and 17 are their only 2 outdoor games. So I think that's a team that you're going to see win a lot of football games. I'm no expert like Mikey, but I would hammer the over line, whatever the over is.
Hold on. So you got the Bears winning 12, but the Lions winning. So you got the Lions going 14
13 or 14. Yeah,
I got them winning 13.
Oof.
I got them winning 13 games. Like I think them playing indoors, it eliminates a lot of the
very true.
Other advantages that the other team that the opponent will have. So I do think that Lions team is going to be able to put up a lot of points, and their defense is going to be good again. So I got them winning 13, but I got the Lions winning our division. NFC South. I try not to do this, but I mean I'm rocking with Atlanta. I really think.
I'm about to say, go ahead and say it. You know you're going to.
Yeah, because this is my thing. They were 7-10 last year, but anybody who watched the Falcons last year, 5 of those games were 1-score games, and I'm not talking about 1 touchdown. I'm talking about they lost the game by 3 points. They lost the game by 2 points. I swear to God, they lost one game 7-6. Like it was that bad on offense. And now you add Kirk Cousins, and if Kirk Cousins isn't healthy, you got Michael Penix in the cut, who looked really good. So I think, with the weapons they have on offense, I think another year, Bijan's going to go crazy in that offense. And you still have Tyler Algier. They said the carries are going to be split like 55-45, which I think it should be more 60-40 because Bijan is that good. But I think that offense is going to put up a lot of points. And I think that defense is actually really good. You got Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates on the back end. You got AJ Terrell. You added Judon. You got a healthy Grady Jarrett. So I think that's a team that they can make some noise, and I think they're definitely gonna knock off Tampa Bay in this division. And with the NFC West, I'm with you. I still think it's San Francisco until you prove otherwise. That team is still going strong. Brock Purdy is one of those guys. He's like a Matt Ryan in the sense that he's really perfect for a Kyle Shanahan system because it's really just as long as you execute, it's going to be hard for him to fuck that up, and I think that's going to continue. So I think with the NFC West, I got San Francisco.
Let's get into our wild card picks. Shout out to Nikhil for keeping us on time. Shout out to super producer Nikhil. But yeah, let's get into our wild card winners, man. There's super wild card weekend. Of course, there's 3 teams who get the wild card spot, seeds 5 through 7 in both conferences. So for the NFC, I've got Chicago. I got the Green Bay Bears. Well, that was sacrilegious. The Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I saw 2 names.
Well, you had
so super. That's a super fine, nigga. Like
that is super fun.
You got to pay all the fines for everybody else.
That's
that type shit. Like
that's
what?
a violation right there. That's 50. That's 50 flicks to the eye, no blink.
That is.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's 10 to 9, no blink.
Yeah, that's 3 cuts to the eyebrow trying to wild out. That was me. But anyway, I got the Green Bay Packers will be the 5th seed. I do think that as much shit as I talk about Jordan Love, I do think he's going to take it up to another level this year. They have a lot of non-big wide receiver names, but they know how to work. And more than anything, I think Josh Jacobs is going to help them in their running game. And I just am a Matt LaFleur guy. I did not know his game till last year. I thought it was just Rodgers. He proved me wrong. I think there'll be enough. I don't. It wouldn't even shock me if they won the division, but I'm still gonna pick Detroit. I'm going Green Bay, the 5th seed. Number 6 is the beloved, the Chicago Bears. I said 12-5 on the special, but I was drunk, and I'm 10-7. That's why I feel comfortable at 10-7. I do think they'll finish 3rd in the division, but I think it'll be enough to get the 6th
Disappointed.
seed.
I'm disappointed in what you just said.
Hey man, that's how I really felt in my heart. 10-7.
You
10-7.
You too old to be blaming it on the alcohol, nigga. Like, we 12-5, bro.
Y'all was gassing me up. Y'all was gassing me up to pick more, and I succumbed to peer pressure. But I'm saying 10-7, 6 seed. And number 7, I'm going to Dallas Cowboys. This is going to be Dak Prescott's final year with the Cowboys before he goes and gets paid somewhere else, and I do think it'll be enough to get the 7th seed. Over in the AFC, I got the Baltimore Ravens. We get the 5th seed. I've got Miami, and I'm not that confident about this because I still got to see that offense do it outside. I just got to see them actually win games they're supposed to win. And that defense took a hit. Even though they paid Jalen Ramsey today, they lost some guys on that defense. I'm a little worried about that. And for the 7th seed, I was going back and forth with these two teams. Y'all know I'm a big Josh Allen guy, and I do think he can elevate that team, even though he has a massive bozo gene. I like him better than I like Deshaun Watson, Freaky Sean, but I just trust in their coach, and I trust in that defense and that wide receiver core and offense that they have in Cleveland more than I trust Buffalo. So those are my wild card teams. Mikey, who you got for your wild card?
So for the AFC, I have the Miami Dolphins, I have the Cincinnati Bengals, and I have the Buffalo Bills. Those are my wild card teams for the AFC. For the NFC, I'm going with the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, and the Dallas Cowboys. I'm really tempted to take the Los Angeles Rams. I'm really a believer in Sean McVay and those two, skilled players that they have out there on the outsides in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. And Kyron Williams, but I just don't think that they'll have enough with their tough schedule. The back end of December. So I'm riding with the 2 teams from the NFC North and then the Dallas Cowboys.
All right. Bang, who are your wild card teams?
Oh, real quick. I'm just laughing at my son real quick. There's just some pictures. My son smiles like wild and he's scary. So if y'all saw me laughing, that's why. But in no particular order, man, I have for my wild card the Eagles, Packers, and Lions for the NFC. And for the AFC, I have the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Ravens. Now, considering what happened last night, that Ravens pick might have to be changed, depending on some tiebreakers. But nah, I think the Eagles are going to be just good enough to be in front of the Washington Commanders. I think the Packers and the Lions are given. And even though that defense took a hit, I do believe that offensively we're going to see a big year from Tua. This is, even though he got his money, this is a prove-it year. And he talking all this shit about, swag and the it factor and all of that stuff. Yeah, he going to have to show it now. Because sometimes you get a lot of pressure when you go after the money, and in some cases you get a lot of pressure when you get the money. There's going to be a lot of people, and there's already a lot of people questioning why Tua got his money and got it now when he still got that 5th year. So I think they're going to offensively rise to the occasion.
Dante, close us out with the wild card picks. Who you got playing Super Wild Card Weekend?
All right. I got, let's see. NFC, my 3 are going to be Green Bay, Tampa Bay. Yeah, because I didn't write it down. That's why.
Nigga.
Oh, no. I'm tripping. Not Green Bay because I picked the Bears to go 12-5. So it's not going to be the Bears. Not going to be Green Bay. It's going to be the Bears. It's going to be Tampa Bay. And no, fuck that. It's going to be the Bears. It's going to be Green Bay, 2 from our division. And it's going to be Philadelphia. That's in the NFC. In the AFC, man, the AFC West is
it's a little tougher.
Yeah, the AFC West is ass. I don't think nobody's going to make it out that division. I definitely got I got Miami going. I think Miami will make it. I agree with everything JR said. I think they're gonna definitely put up points and show you something this year, just because Tua really has to. That's one of those teams where like I know I said, I hate telling people, what you do in the regular season don't matter, but with them, we've seen the points, we've seen it. We need to see you win these games when the temperature drops below 75 degrees and you're not in Miami. So fuck Kyle. But no, we got Miami first. And then I'm gonna go, man, because the AFC South is gonna be good. Like I said, I think Tennessee is one of those teams that can compete for it. But I'm gonna go Cincinnati and Cleveland. I think Cleveland does enough to get that third and final wild card spot.
All right, man. We're gonna do our quick MVP prediction and who we have in the Super Bowl, who's gonna win. For MVP, I'm real big on this guy. I think he's gonna be healthy. I think he's gonna be awesome. I got my man Joey B. Joe Burrow will be added to his collection. Gonna add with that Heisman Trophy he won. We're gonna have. He's gonna be the MVP this year. And for the Super Bowl, Bang ain't gonna like to hit us. At the NFC, I got Detroit. I think Detroit comes out the NFC. I think they learned a lesson from last year. I still think Dan Campbell will be him. I still think he's going to go for it on fourth down a lot. But I do think he's going to learn from what they did last year. And, them being at home, not being at home, but not being outside is going to be a major advantage to them. And I think that they're going to be the number one seed in the AFC. And I think people want to come to that loud Ford Field for those two games. Then they're going to have a chance to play in a dome again in the Super Bowl. So I got them coming out at the NFC and the AFC, man. I'm treating this man like the GOAT. Pat Mahomes, Chiefs. I don't give a fuck. Y'all can talk about the field, all that other shit. Until I see somebody beat him, I'm rolling with him. They're going to come out. They're going to win the AFC. And not only they're going to win the AFC, they're going to be the first team in NFL history to three-peat. It's going to be Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs. Bang, who's your MVP and who you got in the Super Bowl?
So, hey, I'm with you. My MVP is Joe Burrow. Think this is going to be scorched earth when you have a team that the Bengals, that as good as they are, that have one of the top weakest schedules in the league. Think they're going to be straight. Joe Burrow is going to be out there. And for my Super Bowl, yeah, I'm going full delusion, y'all. Chicago Bears is going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I'm sticking with my Bears Packers pick up in the Super Bowl. If y'all saw the show the other day. And I have Joe Burrow and the Bengals going to the Super Bowl versus the Bears.
And you got the Bengals winning.
You know damn right I got the Bengals. I'm
Okay.
not gonna be that.
I thought you was gonna go far.
I ain't gonna be that delusional.
Okay.
But if the Bears do go to the Super Bowl, I'm gonna change my pick.
As you should. Dante, who's your MVP? Who you got in the Super Bowl?
My MVP is simple, man. Back to blue. Dakota Rain Prescott. I think Dak is going to have a phenomenal year. I think he's really going to go off, and I think he's going to win MVP. The numbers are going to be off the charts. For the Super Bowl, I actually have right now, because I didn't want to go full delusion. I feel like that was just too much. I have the Dallas Cowboys against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Boy, that Don Julio talking, boy.
No, bro, the Cowboys are good. The Cowboys are very good football team. The Cowboys are a very good football team, and I've given up on the Dak hate. I think Dak is a really good quarterback, and like I said, with a contract year, something to prove, and based off what he did last year, I think he's really gonna come out and have a phenomenal year and bring home the MVP. But I think they're gonna lose in the Super Bowl to Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mikey, take us on.
In the AFC, for the MVP, I got Patrick Mahomes. This is his year. I think he's going to complete the sweep. I think he's going to be the offensive player of the year. I think he's going to be the MVP. And I have the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, representing the AFC. And I had them going up against the Eagles with a repeat, or with a rematch of 2 years ago. So I'm riding with the Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl with the Chiefs winning a three-peat.
We are 100% clipping this up so we can see if we're dumbasses in 6 months from now, man. But we're gonna do this thing called rapid fire picks. We're gonna do this every week. I'm gonna go in this order, so we all know what order we're going. I'm going me, Mikey, Bang, Dante. I'm gonna name the game, give a quick pick and a quick reason for why you got it going that way. So we're gonna start off with week 1. Non-Bears, by the way, we already gave our Bears pick, so we don't have to worry about doing the Bears. We're gonna go with tonight's game. Packers, Eagles, getting ready to kick off in about 35 minutes in Brazil. I'm going with the Eagles because fuck the Packers. There's really no other football reason. I'm just going with the Eagles because fuck the Green Bay Packers. Mikey, go ahead.
Eagles.
Eagles in the city of God.
The Packers, because they were actually wore their real colors. They didn't bitch up and wear black and white and none of that other shit. So I'm going with the Packers.
Bills Cardinals. This one be in Buffalo. We're gonna see the new look. Arizona Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr., who I think is gonna be the biggest threat to Caleb Williams to win the Rookie of the Year. I'm going Buffalo. I'm going Buffalo with this one. I'm not a big believer in man like that, so I'm gonna go with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in this first game.
I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals. They are a live dog. I think if you remember last year, they went into the Link in Philly and they beat the Eagles. And they were looking right once Kyler got, healthy. I think Kyler is fully healthy now. Marvin Harrison Jr., James Conner, McBride at tight end, taking the Cardinals as a dog.
Bills. Cardinals ain't gonna be that good this year.
I'm going Arizona. I like a healthy Kyler Murray. With some weapons, with something to prove. Like I said, this team played a lot of tough games last year. Really just lost in the fourth quarter. So I think with their starting quarterback back, and add Marvin Harrison Jr., I got the Bills coming out the gate. I got the Cardinals coming out the gate with a W.
Bengals Patriots. Man, this is gonna be a blowout. Even though there's no T. Higgins in this game and Jamar Chase is questionable, it doesn't fucking matter. Jacoby Brissett ain't beating nobody. I'm going with the Bengals. I assume everybody here is taking the Bengals. So we're gonna go into this next game. If you want to see ass in front of your TV, Giants Vikings is for you. I don't believe in Daniel Jones whatsoever. I don't believe in Sam Darnold either. But I believe in Sam Darnold a hell lot more than I believe in Daniel Jones. I got the Vikings in this one getting a win.
Yeah, I got the Vikings. I think Brian Flores is throwing the house. He's going to blitz over 55% of the time. Daniel Jones is prone to make mistakes. I'm taking the Vikings on the road.
Vikings about to take all of that Brian Flores Tua frustrations out on this team, man. Vikes.
Yeah, I mean, that goofball can call the defense. I got the Vikings.
This one, Saints Panthers, man, another nasty NFC South matchup. Anytime the Panthers are coming up, I'm not taking the Panthers. Let's just be very clear about that. I think the Saints are going to win this one.
Give me the Panthers. Got the upset. Give me the Panthers.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I ain't doing that. Saints.
I'm going to pick the Saints, but I'm going to say this. We may get a Spencer Rattler sighting earlier than y'all think. And
okay.
Yeah. I was going to say that.
Okay. That'd be hilarious. Falcons Steelers, man. It's looking like it might be Justin Fields starting. Russell Wilson has had calf issues all camp. It's flared up this week. Calf injuries, not something you want to play with, especially Russell Wilson's age. Justin Fields took the snaps today in the Thursday practice while Russell Wilson looked, and it might be for the next couple weeks. Justin Fields returning home for possibly his first start. I think it's going to be a very competitive game, but I think Atlanta pulls this out. I hate to say this because I love the guy. Justin's going to do some dumb shit in the fourth quarter that's going to get the Falcons to win at home.
I got Pittsburgh Steelers winning on the road.
I got Pittsburgh as well.
I got Pittsburgh on the road, and if they announce that Justin starting tomorrow, I will be calling off work Sunday. Because I'm gonna be there.
Dolphins Jaguars, man. Mike McDaniel, Black King. Mike McDaniel just got a contract extension. Jalen Ramsey just got a contract extension as well. The Jacksonville Jaguars, like we said, a lot on the line for a trick-off trade. Not nothing on the line for trick-off trade. They didn't got paid. It's a lot on the line for Doug Peterson. I do not like this Miami Dolphins defense. I think there will be some plays to be made for Jacksonville. I think it'd be a close game, but I think Miami closes this out and gets the dub.
Yeah, I got the Miami Dolphins. This is definitely a game you probably take the over. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think that the Dolphins have too much team speed for the Jaguars.
Highest scoring game of the weekend, man, but the Dolphins is going to take it home.
Yeah, I got Miami.
Colts Texans AFC South matchup coming out the gate. Anthony Richardson makes his return to the field. I believe Texans are the culture team, and I think they're gonna come out strong. I think this is gonna be a blowout. I think they're gonna put their hands on the division rival. I'm going Texans.
I got the Colts winning on the back of Jonathan Taylor.
I got the Colts in the upset.
I think the Colts are gonna be super huff. I got the Texans.
Chargers Raiders, aka the Dante Bowl. This is going to be a team where I'm really interested to see how the Chargers come out under Jim Harbaugh. Big Justin Herbert guy, even though I don't know who the hell he throwing to. The Raiders are going to be what the Raiders are. Good defense. Devontae Adams is going to be yelling at niggas. It's probably going to be traded by the trade deadline. I don't trust in Gardner. Even though I think Gardner Minshew's a good backup, he's not a starter. I'm going with the Chargers in a close one.
I got the Raiders. Devontae Adams is going to feast. I trust Gardner Minshew. I can't name any skill players for the Chargers. I mean, Quentin Johnson, yeah, he's a skill player, but just in name, I'm riding with the Raiders in the upset.
I got the Chargers.
It's gonna be a home game for the Raiders. I got the Raiders in LA.
It definitely will be a home game. Definitely will be a home game. Watch your back if you out there at SoFi Stadium. Seahawks Broncos, man. The first game of the non-Pete Carroll era. I do not like Sean Payton. And I'm really not that high on Bo Nix, but I'm going with the Broncos in this one. I think the Broncos get this done. I think Bo Nix has a big game. I think 2 rookies will get wins this week.
Yeah, I'm riding with the Seahawks. I think Kenneth Walker has a big game. I think, DK Metcalf, they're going to have Patrick Surtain on them. So Jackson Smith and Jigba time.
I'm going to go with the Broncos. I'm gonna go with the Broncos here.
No, I'm with Scott. Fuck Sean Payton. I'm gonna go with Seattle in this first one. I don't think too highly of Bo Nix. I think he'll just be okay. He'll just be okay, but I still think the experience Seattle has and the team they have another year together, they'll get it done week 1.
The NFL Fox America's Game of the Week will be happening in the Dog Pound, and it is Tom Brady's debut in the booth, even though he can't even do research on this team because he's about to buy the Raiders, which is hilarious. Browns Cowboys. This is going to be a really, really good game. Freaky Sean back out there, fresh off his injury. A lot of expectations for the Browns. Dallas Cowboys, Dak, I think is be playing. I think Dak's gonna have a career year because he has no worries right now. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys go into the Dog Pound and get a good win. And despite all the noise, they come out and start this season hot. I'm going with the Cowboys.
I'm taking the Cleveland Browns at home.
Browns at home.
Dakota's MVP campaign starts week 1. Cowboys.
We got the Buccaneers and the Commandos going on in Tampa. I think this will be a competitive game too, but I think that defense is going to get in on Jay Daniels. I think the Buccaneers win this one by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, I got the Bucs in this one. It's going to be hot down there in South Florida. Take the Bucs.
Okay, so the Bucs are at home.
Yeah, the Bucs
are home.
Taking the Bucs.
I'm taking the Commanders. I think the pick 1 and 2 are going to be really good this year, and I think they both going to have a dub week 1.
First of 2 primetime games, Sunday Night Football in Detroit. We got the Detroit Lions taking on Matthew Stafford and that Los Angeles Rams rematch of last year's playoff game. I think it's going to be the same result as the playoff game, and I actually think it's going to be more of a blowout. I do not believe in that defense without Aaron Donald. I think the Lions are going to win this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I got the Lions. If Aaron Donald was there, then I would definitely take the Rams, but I'm taking the Lions on this one.
I'm gonna go with the Rams.
I'm gonna go with Detroit.
All right. What we're gonna do now? We got the last game of the week. We're gonna talk about Niners and Jets Monday Night Football. Yeah, man. I think this is gonna be a competitive game, but I said Jets are gonna win the East, and I do think that the Niners are gonna take a step back. Aaron Rodgers returning home. I'm going with the Jets. I don't even know if you call it upset, but I'm gonna say it's upset. I'm going Jets.
It is an upset. They the underdogs, but I definitely am taking the Niners.
Taking the Niners for this one.
Yeah, I'm going Niners.
All right, man. We're gonna go to our last topic of the day. We're not gonna spend too much time on this when we're running up against the clock. But week 2, college football, man. I think the question we all need to ask here is pretty simple: is the U back? And are USC back? We all saw a big game last week from Cam Ward as they went into went to the swamp and beat the Gators, washed the Gators. And then we also saw in the Labor Day game at Allegiant Stadium, we saw Miller Moss, which is such a quarterback, white ass name, beat the LSU Tigers, taking that out, man. I think that I don't know if I'm ready to say USC is back. I'm ready to say the U is back, and I'm actually glad I picked them as my bandwagon team 2 years ago because they actually have, I think, a good quarterback here, and I think they have a softer schedule as well. And I think it's good for football when you see the U good again. You know, they haven't been good for a long ass time. I think if they can go out there and take advantage this Saturday, I think that this puts them on a good path to be one of those 12 playoff teams out there. USC, I want to see a little bit more from them. Want to see a little more from Miller Moss. The defense, it looks better than last year. They start off a little rough, made some adjustments in the second half, really played better down the stretch. I still got to see a little bit more from them before I say that they're 100% back. But I'm really interested to see both of those teams play. Mikey, do you think that any of these iconic teams are back, or maybe we just putting too much dip on our chip after 1 week?
No, I think out of all the teams that are back, the U's back. I mean, they have a cakewalk of a schedule. I'm gonna read it to you real quick: Florida A&M, Ball State, South Florida, Virginia Tech, Cal, Louisville, Florida State, Duke, Georgia Tech, which is looking like probably their toughest game, Wake Forest, and Syracuse. The ACC is an automatic conference bid. They should probably go undefeated and not lose. They should win their conference, and they should be penciled in as one of the playoff teams. USC is a little bit tougher. You got ranked Penn State coming up. You got Washington. You got Nebraska. You still got Notre Dame. So, you got that Big Ten schedule, plus you throw in Notre Dame there. We'll see more on them, but I think the U is definitely back, man.
Bang. Is the U back? Is USC back? Any one of these iconic teams back?
Cam Ward is a Heisman Trophy candidate. They've been needing a quarterback for quite some time to hold them down. I think for at least this year, the U is back. USC, it remains to be seen because they're in the Big Ten. This ain't going to be no cakewalk at all. So I'm more likely to say that the U is back than USC.
Dante, what's your thoughts?
They both back. I think USC is going to be a surprise to a lot of teams in the Big Ten. I think they're going to play really well this season. They're going to compete for – how many bids does the Big Ten get? Is it just one? One automatic?
Yeah, it's just one automatic. But you figure they'll get at least, if you're just going off teams real quick, we're probably looking at Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Miami from the ACC. I'm missing somebody else. Like you Notre Dame, their schedule. So you're looking at like 6 automatic of those teams. The Big Ten is going to get 2 in at minimum. And the SEC will get 2, probably, 3 in.
Yeah, no, and I agree with everything you said about the U. That schedule combined with everything they got going on, I think Cam is dope. He's great for that school and everything that he used to be. I think we look at the old blue bloods and we always want them to come back. But I think if there's one that has an opportunity to come back faster than another, there's always going to be Miami because of the legacy and the amount of NFL players you have that can come vouch for their school and get people in the building. So I think they both back, and I think that's good for college football because, with NIL and the way everything else is set up, you're going to need something. And I think bringing back some of these old names that used to, really, really dominate is great for college football. And another reason I think USC is back is because they finally did right by my nigga Reggie Bush. So yeah, I think that helps out a lot, and I think that plays well with recruits. And I think you're going to see, them in the Big Ten really start to compete for the Big Ten. And it won't just be something where they're the West Coast team that comes over to play. Like, I think USC will be a contender in the Big Ten.
And shout out to both Reggie Bush and Caleb Williams. Both will be getting their jerseys retired at the Coliseum over there, as because both former Heisman winners, man. So very, very quick question, and we'll move on to Mikey's bets. Is anybody giving the Buffs a chance to beat Nebraska this weekend?
No, sir.
Not
Not me.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. I think they're gonna get blown the fuck out tomorrow night. I'm holding out hope. Well, I think it's gonna be a nasty game tomorrow.
Hey,
I
man,
think that
look,
was gonna be over the first quarter.
Cut the bull jive. Cut the bull
Yeah,
jive.
Lil Pat about to go wild. It's about to be a coming out party for Lil Pat.
For a little
Hey, no, and thank you, Bang, because this is a perfect segue into my bets for the weekend.
yes,
Because
sir. Mikey's weekend bets.
yes,
Let's get into it.
the very first bet I got is for tomorrow's primetime matchup with Colorado and Nebraska. Dylan Raiola over 235 and a half passing yards. I think he is going to have his coming out party. It's going to be a shootout. He got close to clearing that last week, but you got to remember they were also kind of blowing out UTEP. They were doing what they were doing, whereas Colorado on the other end was struggling with NDSU. So that's going to be our first play. Dylan Raiola over 235 and a half passing yards. I got some shit for y'all tonight. I'm sorry that we didn't get to put these out earlier. For those that are watching, though, you got time to put it in. Devontae Smith, over 4.5 receptions for the Eagles. Last year, he averaged about 7.5 targets a game. He's hit that in 7 out of his last 10. You already know Jair Alexander is going to be on A.J. Brown. I really like Devontae Smith to have a big game. The other single bet that I got for this Sunday coming up, Cooper Kupp. My man is finally healthy. I think a lot of people are, kind of gravitating more to what they seen Puka do, not forgetting that Cooper Kupp is a bad man. We're going to take him over 5.5 receptions. Banged up line secondary. Last year, he still, while on the field with Puka Nacua, still out-targeted him, getting about 9 targets a game. The last time we saw them line up, it was against the Lions in the playoff matchup, and he ended with 5, but he was banged up, and you got to go look at that box score. Puka Nacua was going fucking crazy. So I think Cooper Kupp is back, and he's going to show out in a big way. We already know him and Stafford have a great rapport. My other play for this weekend, Davante Adams, over 69.5 receiving yards. Now, I know you guys have seen him in the media talking a little spicy towards the Chargers because the Chargers social media team kind of, when they showed the Raiders on the schedule, they had some trash, which is kind of crazy because Davante Adams in his 4 games as a Raider against the Chargers is averaging 123.5 receiving yards. I have absolute faith in Gardner Minshew that he knows how to do his job and get the ball to his number 1 wide receiver. Last year, when he was an Indianapolis Colt, he was going ahead and feeding Michael Pittman, the Colts' number 1 wide receiver, getting him 10 targets a game. That's what you want to see for your wide receiver. He was clearing that. I think Pittman cleared that in 8 out of the 14 games last year. So we got Davante Adams over 69.5 receiving yards. We got Cooper Kupp over 5.5 receptions. Tonight, we got Devontae Smith over 4.5 receptions. Tomorrow, little Saturday action. We got Dylan Raiola over 23.5 passing yards. And my parlay for the week, moneyline parlay, we're taking the Eagles tonight. We're taking the Bears on Sunday. And we're taking the Miami Dolphins. It's plus 380. Let's get some bread.
Definitely, man. Get money with Mikey each and every Friday on Mikey's Weekend Bets. We'll go more in depth on college football on Monday. We'll have our new college football correspondent, Kyron Samuels. He is college football writer and analyst for Sports Illustrated. You can follow him at Kyron Samuels. He'll be joining us each and every Monday during the football season. We can go more in depth on what happened in week 2, man. Time for my Goofy Mog of the week. This is sponsored by nobody. But Goofy Mog of the week. I hate to do this to this person because I respect this person as a basketball legend. She's put it down. Some of the earliest memories of the WNBA is her with the Houston Comets and their dominance they had in the early 90s and in the year 2000. But I gotta give to Sheryl Swoops. Sheryl Swoops, 4-time WNBA champion, 3-time WNBA MVP, 6-time WNBA All-Star, 5-time WNBA first team, 3-time WNBA Defensive Player of the Year, steals leader, scoring champion 2 times. She's been on the WNBA 10th, 15th, 20th, and 25th anniversary team. She's also NCAA champion in 1993. She's got an extensive resume. Sheryl Swoops knows more about basketball and her pinky than I would know in my entire life. Having said all of that, she's looking very crazy right now with the way she's been conducting herself with the Caitlin Clark case. She's got a podcast. You can say whatever you want on your podcast. We say whatever we want on ours. But when you're somebody of the caliber of Sheryl Swoops. I don't have a problem with her hating, or not want to say hating. I don't have a problem with her not liking Caitlin Clark or being the biggest fan of Caitlin Clark, because I think it's hard to have a nuanced conversation, and not just about sports, especially about WNBA, especially when it comes to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. There are a lot of people over there, a lot of fans get real racist. A lot of our fans do too much. Having said all that, you can't come up here with basketball knowledge, not only as a former player, but also as an analyst on a level of the game with your podcast, and shout out what the Indiana Fever have done. And they've been on fucking fire since the Olympic break. They went from maybe saying, oh, well, they're under 500, they might be able to get that final seed in the WNBA playoffs. So now they're gonna make the playoffs. You know, they might even have a better record than Mercury. They're playing that well right now with Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. They've been balling out. And you can't name all the other ladies on the team, their contributions to what they've been doing, and just don't even leave out Caitlin Clark. That's like me naming everything the Dallas Mavericks are doing well and don't even bring up Luka. You played yourself there. And then you get mad at Nancy Lieberman, who was trying to look out for you as your friend and tell you that, yo, you're looking real crazy right now, and cussing her out and going crazy like that. And a lot of people talking crazy about Nancy Lieberman. You need to do your research on her, definitely a basketball legend as well. And then the Stephen A. Smith. I know Stephen A. does do a lot sometimes, but Stephen A. kept it simply basketball and simply on what you've been saying. And you call this man a coward and an idiot and things like that. And now you're saying that because of them, you got people leaving death threats on your phone. And I'm not saying they're not doing that, but you can't blame Stephen A. Smith and Nancy Lieberman for what they're saying. I just think it's disrespectful. I understand she's sticking up for Angel. Angel Reese is incredible. I love what she's doing for the game. I love what she's doing for the WNBA. And as a Chicago sports fan, I'm definitely rocking with Angel over Caitlin Clark any day of the week because it's the crib. But Caitlin Clark is having a better season. I don't want to hear Rookie of the Year. I know Lisa Leslie tweeted that. No, it is her 100%. And we just got to stop that. And I expected more from Sheryl Swoops. And she's looking real crazy out here, man. You're a goat in the game. And there's some people, we can't have the conversation about the WNBA that we have in the NBA, because I feel like a lot of people who support the WNBA fans, they want their cake and they want to eat it too. You can't have more eyes on the game and not expect people to debate it the same way they kind of debate the NBA. And you can't have that, man. And people say, oh, well, y'all let Skip Bayless hate. Why she can't hate? We don't let Skip Bayless do shit. Skip Bayless been called the #1 hater of the year for the last 15, 16 years. That's a bad complaint as that as well. So I'm giving my Goofy Mog of the week to Sheryl Swoops. I expected more from you, 100%. That is all that we've got for y'all. Shout out to us for sticking on the 2-hour, time limit that we were trying to do. Really trying to stick to the 2 hours on Fridays. Try to get y'all out for the weekend, especially tonight. We got Packers and Eagles about to kick off in 14 minutes in Brazil, man. Shout out to Robert Mays for joining us. We will be back on Monday, back to our 2-week schedule starting Monday. Monday show start at 4 because it will be the Super Show. We'll be going 3 hours, 4 to 7 p.m. Central Time. That's 5 to 8 Eastern Time. We'll be breaking down everything from week 1 to the NFL. Talk about week 2 of college football and getting to everything else we're going to be talking about as well, man. Y'all can follow my co-host. You can follow Dante at October Zone Tate on Twitter. You can follow Mikey at Junior_Solito on Twitter. Follow JR Bang at JR Bang. Follow me at Barbchair Scott on all social media platforms. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barberchair Network. We got 4 different tiers. If you see up here, you can take your phone up to the screen and you can scan that QR code. It'll take you right to the link. If you subscribe to the $10 Barbershare All Access tier, you get 25% off your first Barbershare shop order. We'll send you the code as soon as you subscribe. And if you are an existing member and you still haven't claimed your 25%, look it up. They got the code up on there, man. And of course, you can follow HB Media TV on Twitter, HB Media on Instagram, and of course, visit the bcnetshop.com. As you can see, you can get all of your Barbershare merchandise, all of your 79th Dallas merchandise, and I'm not going to hold you. If you watch this, obviously, you probably watch 79th Dallas too. Me and Flo's be back on Sunday with our first post-game pod. Looking forward to that, man. So y'all have a great football-filled weekend. We're going to holler at y'all on Monday. We up out of here.